foundation of good businesses is empathy.
If you're cooped up in a room or you're isolated for 14-15 days away from your loved ones, it can really start taking a toll on your mental health.
There is a large group of people or a large set of families where one person or two people in the family is getting infected, and then they don't want to transmit it to everyone else in the family.
Feels good that in times of their sickness we are able to help them.
Due to COVID, we've seen a surge of demand for mental health care.
Last year when lockdown hit, business was shut. We definitely were disappointed and worried with the situation. But since we ran out of our home kitchen, we did not have major overruns and thus we did not lose hope. Few days after, when we saw the plight of the vulnerable section of the society in need of food, we decided to start preparing meals with the help of the house members. There was no staff, there was no house help at that time, but with the support of the family members and the funds from our sponsors, we were able to provide 150 meals daily. We almost provided more than 10,000 meals during that time.
मेरी बेटी लास्ट लॉकडाउन में सारा दिन काम करती थी और बाहर से खाना मंगवाती थी, और उस खाने में तो पता नहीं नरिशमेंट होता कि मतलब वो बीमार हो गई, इतनी बीमार हो गई कि उनको ये मुंबई छोड़ना फॉर द टाइम पे उनको छोड़ना पड़ा। तो ऐसे कितने हैं जिसके पास खाना नहीं है, जिसके पास मतलब पैसे हैं पर खाना टाइम पे आते नहीं है, आते हैं तो खाना लायक नहीं है, लाइक होममेड फूड ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं, सच में है ही। तो स्पेशली जो फिश लेते हैं, जो चिकन पसंद करते हैं, तो हम तो इसके लिए बॉन्ग एपेटाइट जो है हमारा, हम हैं हमारी किचन में, हम अपने हाथों से बड़े प्यार से ये सब नॉन वेज बनाते हैं और साथ भी करते हैं।
A day in our life, currently I would say would be a very busy day. It starts with receiving orders through phone calls and WhatsApp messages. We receive payments from the customers online. We take the orders a day in advance. My sister takes care of all these orders and makes us schedule for the delivery for the next day. We schedule the delivery for these meals on the delivery apps. We take utmost care and hygiene protocols are followed in our kitchen. Meals are cooked and packed and the delivery person picks up the food from our kitchen and delivers it to the patients.
कोविड क्राइसिस में मुंबई में हमने जितना देखा, लोगों के पास खाना नहीं है और खाने की टाइम नहीं है, मतलब रोज के सिस्टम में गड़बड़ी आ गई है ना। तो इसलिए हमने बॉन्ग एपेटाइट जो है हमारे इस किचन में ना, हम कोलकाता की बहुत पुरानी रेसिपीज, जैसे हमारी दादी नानी से भी पहले, चलो 100-150 साल पहले की जो रेसिपीज रेयर, वो हमने यहीं पर लेके आए मुंबईकर्स के लिए। इंग्रेडिएंट्स इतना प्योर है और उसकी फ्लेवर, इतना टेस्ट, इट्स गुड क्वांटिटी एंड हेल्दी तो है ही। तो ये हम हमारे किचन में बना रहे हैं और ये कोविड क्राइसिस में इज अफोर्डेबल ऑल्सो. तो ऐसे ही खाने के लिए तो हम अच्छी चीजें बना रहे हैं सबके लिए. और हमारा प्राइसिंग लोगों की फूड एक्सपेंडिचर के अंदर ही है. मींस इट्स नॉट सो हाई.
When we receive phone calls from the family members of the patients thanking us for taking care of the meals of these patients admitted in the hospital, it overwhelms us. They tell us how relieved they feel when the patient is able to eat home cooked food. We receive requests from the patients for customized food requirements as suggested by the doctor.
हमारे रिलेशन बहुत अच्छे हैं. कस्टमर तो पूछते ही रहते हैं क्या बन रहा है, क्या चाहिए, उसकी नया नया आइडियाज है, नया नया डिमांड है, और हम उसकी माफिक बनाते भी रहते हैं. और वेरी पॉपुलर नाउ, पॉपुलर डिमांड है.
Little bit about your space, right? So we actually run student housing services across India. We cater to about 7,000 students currently in 8 cities, largely in Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, Indore, Ahmedabad, and Jalandhar as well. So as COVID cases in Delhi, Bangalore, and Bombay started rising exponentially, we as an organization felt that how do we contribute to society? So we actually realized that so we took some time and we started thinking about how can we deliver a service that is effective, yet a service in which we're not overcommitting ourselves from a medical standpoint and can also serve a large section of society. So at the intersection of those three elements, we realized that there is a large group of people or a large set of families where one person or two people in the family is getting infected, and then they don't want to transmit it to everyone else in the family. So we realized that these people are mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic, but they still carry the virus and carry the threat of spreading it within their household. So they would like to move out and isolate. So based on that, we actually converted a couple of our buildings into COVID isolation centers and decided that we would open these up to the public for mildly symptomatic and asymptomatic people who are under the age of 60, so that we have lesser risk from a medical standpoint, and actually tie up with a medical provider just to do a remote consult in terms of doctor services, but basically not commit anything from a medical standpoint, right, and not offer any of those services other than a remote doctor consult, but still provide people with an opportunity to reduce the spread of the virus. And that's gone exceptionally well for us. We realized that there's a large demand in the market. We realized that we've been able to cater to that demand in an effective way. We realized that people are happy with the service. So it was just our little way to kind of give back to society and say a big thank you for people who stuck by us.
While talking about the mental toll that COVID-19 takes on patients, even if you look at COVID-19, the situation that we as a country are facing, it's quite grim and can mentally affect even people who are lucky enough to not be affected by the virus. Just looking at the situation of how grim it is and how the healthcare system is not able to meet demand, it's a very precarious situation. And when you're at the center of the storm when it comes to COVID-19, it becomes extremely difficult to cope with the facts and the figures that people are throwing at you, and also the isolation that comes along with COVID-19. I think that's primarily the reason why mental health is so important for COVID-19 patients.
We've come up with our initiative where we are providing 30-minute emotional support to people who are COVID positive, irrespective of their age group and background, and we're operational pan-India. This is a completely free of cost service that you can access. You can find these numbers on all of our social media handles and you can place your call. Our volunteers will pick up this call and they will put you in touch with a mental health professional for a 30-minute emotional support session. And you can also pass this along to anyone you know who is COVID positive. Also, apart from this, if you require any further assistance from Citta in terms of therapy sessions, you can also get in touch with us. at Citta India on Instagram and across all our other social media handles.
The whole conversation around mental health is shifting. People are more open to seeking help and more open to being vulnerable to a mental health professional, which really in the long run will help us as a country.
If I had to pinpoint a particular instance of a caller who really benefited from our service and was really grateful to us, was someone from Kolkata who wanted the service to be delivered, like the emotional support call, to happen in Bengali because their relative who required it only spoke in Bengali, and our services were limited only to Hindi and English. But thankfully, because of our wonderful network of therapists, we were able to put the person in touch with someone who took up the session in Bengali, and it's been great, and we've received a lot of love and support and gratitude from these people.